Work hard, scam harder. It's not just for Nigerians, baby. This was the biggest heist in U.S. history. More than $200 billion vanished overnight. 10 times bigger than Bernie Madoff.
Charged with fraud.
PPP fraud. Pandemic fraud.
Millions of dollars that disappeared.
The Paycheck Protection Program, also called PPP, was supposed to keep you employed during COVID. But what happened? Hundreds of billions of dollars went to jewelry, exotic cars, first-class tickets, fancy restaurants, and trips to South Beach. What? Why didn't I get in on the action? PPP is just one of the various COVID relief programs that scammers treated like their own personal piggy bank. And we put it all on the country's credit card. Over $34 trillion in debt. Print, baby, print. It's time to take the blimp all over the country to get our money back. I'm Alex Stein, and this is Blaze Originals. We're here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, and you would think that I'm here to find AOC's, abuelita, but unfortunately we're doing a PPP fraud documentary.
Puerto Rico might seem like an unusual place to start our project.
Charlie's Drive-In, Puerto Rico, let's go.
But it's home to someone who is calling out PPP from the moment it was announced. American stockbroker and financial commentator Peter Schiff.
Tell us a little bit about why you knew it was going to be a scam from the start.
You have to just go back and look, go to the date of when the PPP was announced, and then go to the podcast that's closest to that date.
The PPP bailouts, the government's just handing out money.
I railed all over it and said, this is going to be a complete boondoggle. This is going to be the biggest fraud in government history.
In the early days of the coronavirus pandemic, the Trump administration moved quickly to flood the economy with cash.
The president's very interested in putting money into the economy, and we're going to do that.
No one makes it rain like Donald Trump. Enhanced unemployment checks, direct payments to Americans, and notably, special loan programs to small businesses.
Like saying, this is the worst combination of monetary and fiscal policy in U.S. history. I mean, if your goal was to create a lot of inflation, this is how you do it.
In total, the government flushed the economy with trillions of dollars.
So we reduced the supply of goods that we produced, and we increased the supply of money for people to buy that stuff that wasn't there. It's not an accident that prices have skyrocketed over the last couple of years.
The Paycheck Protection Program, or PPP, was designed to give loans to small businesses in exchange for them maintaining payroll.
We're going to need money for business to encourage businesses to rehire people.
Between March 2020 and May 2021, the Small Business Administration, which ran the program, pushed out $790 billion. Though they were called loans, the administration ended up forgiving 96% of them.
The majority of this money is going to be forgiven in the next few months.
Because they knew they weren't really loans. It was free money. And who wouldn't want free money?
You know what? It turns out people want free money. To make matters worse, the government didn't even have clear rules on how people were supposed to spend the money and just left it up to the banks who profited from issuing these PPP loans to vet loan applicants.
So when it came to the banks, what was their incentive to give this money?
Well, they made money on every PPP loan that they originated. And they were all guaranteed by the government. So the banks had a windfall because they could make a loan that they knew there was a 100% chance that it was going to get repaid.
Some banks, especially less regulated fintechs, approved basically everyone. Thousands of businesses rushed to get their hands on the free cash. That list, which is now public, includes the Los Angeles Lakers and Shake Shack, who both returned their loans after public outrage. But wealthy celebrities like Tom Brady, Khloe Kardashian, Kanye West, and the president's son-in-law Jared Kushner got that PPP money and had their loans forgiven. Their cases are outrageous, but not illegal. It wasn't until the government opened the program up to sole proprietors and freelancers that things started to get messy.
And there was no real penalty for lying or committing fraud. And it was almost like if you didn't do it, you were a sucker because everybody else was doing it. You felt like the only idiot who wasn't getting the money.
The program became a viral sensation. People posted Instagram pictures, the PPP financed luxury cars, fake LLCs popped up around the country. Recipients included a criminal gang in New York called the Insane Crips, a cocaine dealer in Georgia who claimed to be a carpenter, and at least 6 people who used photos of Barbie on their identification documents.
Some of the fraud was even more overt, where people didn't even have businesses and just concocted a fake business and got money.
A quick search shows thousands of tweets about how people spent their PPP money on Casa Amigos, Hennessy, and first-class tickets to Miami. New theories spawned on X about how the program actually led to a shortage of crab legs and Dodge Challengers.
Was this a modern-day reparations in a way?
It was just the same concept, except it applied to everybody, where you didn't have to be African American. But I remember I was joking about it at the time, that you don't have to wait for reparations, just take out a PPP loan and claim your share there.
All right, guys, now we went to the Internet Archive and we got an actual PPP loan form. And I'm gonna show you how easy it is to make $25K while you're laying in bed. It's just that easy. So you only have to check one of these, I believe. So they'll ask you some questions, and then right here, review and check all of the following. Applicant is not engaged in any illegal activity. I am. No principal of the applicant with a 50% greater ownership. I don't even care about that because I'm lying. Applicant does not present live performances. I am live all the time, so lying. Applicant does not derive more than 1/3 of gross annual revenue from legal gambling services. I make a lot of money gambling. And applicant is not in the business of lobbying. I lobby to these politicians all day long. And then this is the last one. This is the best one. Applicant cannot be a state, local, or municipal government entity and cannot be a member of Congress. Sorry, AOC, looks like you're not getting that PPP money this time. Now I know why you voted against the CARES Act. Okay, so a few simple questions. Business, legal name, trade name, my social. Y'all bleep that out.
As it turns out, armed with just my social security number, Pimp on a Blimp Enterprises would have been on its way to $20,000 of that sweet PPP money. And in that spirit, we plan to go where so many others did.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're coming to you from South Beach, Miami. We're gonna ask people what they thought about all that free PPP money that all those businesses got. Let's see what they say. Yo, what up, girl? Hi. Yo, what's up, beautiful ladies? I'm Alex. Oh, we got the hookah.
We got the vibes, we got it all.
Okay, so I gotta ask y'all, we're talking to people, y'all remember all that PPP money?
Yeah.
So who do y'all know that did PPP fraud?
Everybody in Ohio.
No, tell us.
Everybody in Ohio.
Cool, talk to me.
How much you get the PPP loan for?
They gave me $3 million and they want $5 million back. Make that make sense?
No. So how much time you about to do?
Wish they ain't caught me yet, dog.
Did y'all get a PPP loan?
I wish.
People lied, and $200 billion of it was fraudulent. What does that make you feel like?
It's kind of pissed off, to be honest with you.
What, would you like Joe Biden or the next president to give us a freaking PPP deal?
Joe Biden, how about that?
God bless America. This guy rules. Thank y'all. That's good right there. Did you get a PPP?
Of course.
Damn, I got a PPP. I'm rich. Man, how much is a PPP?
No, relax. I feel like they said...
Grab the mic. Hold the mic.
So they said if you have a business, if you do DoorDash, if you do Instacart or Uber, then you're qualified.
Miami. What do you want to say about PPP?
Hey, listen,
say something.
If you got the PPP loan, I'm really happy for you. But like, come on now. Must be nice. I feel like as a flight attendant, I need that PPP loan today.
Did y'all ever get a PPP loan?
I wish I got one, but I didn't.
So tell the people what you think about all those people doing fraud. Was that good or bad?
I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. Get the government for all they got. They making it hard for us. Why not? Sorry.
Yeah, I went through a lawyer and she did everything for me. So I knew it was legit.
Get a little bit? I know they do it legit, but
yeah.
did she gave you charged you a fee or something?
Yeah, I had to pay her like $5,000.
No!
But that's fine because
yeah, you got more than 5,000. Let's go.
and I got forgives, you know, because
totally forgiven.
Because it was all legit.
I would rather you get the money than the Ukraine or whatever.
Yeah.
We in Miami. We in Miami. We in Miami. We Miami, Miami. Who do you know that committed PPP fraud back in 2021?
I had a couple people. I know a couple people that did it. No, if I could have did it myself, I would have did it too.
In the spirit of the hustlers and the fraudsters, we decided to spend another day in South Florida. But to do it, we had to do it in PPP style.
You know what time it is?
I get the money and it's right on cue.
It's Lamborghini time. Let's go.
Hold a couple racks, tell them I love you. You wanna be a
If I can get this bad boy started.
It turns out that back in PPP's heyday, not everyone thought it was going to end very well.
Well, guess what, Uncle Scam? Uncle Sam wants you. And by wants you, I mean wants your ass in prison.
So we decided to take the Lambo for a ride and meet up with Jeffrey Danick, a retired FBI agent.
We call this probable cause.
Yeah. Please, no, can you run me? Can you see if they have a file?
Danick spent decades working on fraud cases in the FBI's Miami field office.
Why is there so much fraud in South Florida, in your opinion?
It is the epicenter of fraud, every type of fraud you can think of. Down here, the big fraud is medical fraud. Medicare is like an ATM. If you put the right code in, it spits out money. So you need that ATM code. COVID fraud was completely different. It was an ATM machine that was always full, with no code needed.
In his first State of the Union address, President Biden announced a crackdown on pandemic fraud.
Tonight, I'm announcing that the Justice Department will soon name a chief prosecutor for pandemic fraud.
Congress, for its part, has followed up, and in 2022 doubled the statute of limitations for criminal enforcement against PPP fraud from 5 years to 10.
Congress has funded strike forces. There's one here in Miami destined or aimed just at COVID fraud, and they'll just start picking, top tier fruit. They can tell what's ripe. It's not rocket science for these PPP loans.
Yeah, as an FBI agent, is that a high priority? A guy that spends $1 million defrauding the government on a PPP loan? Or are you even going to spend any resources on a guy that, defrauded the government for $10K or $15K?
There's a tidal wave coming. These cases should all be layups, especially the next big wave. They should all be easy.
The Fed started with sensational cases that created big headlines, like 29-year-old David Hines of Miami, who obtained $3.9 million in PPP money and blew some of it on a Lamborghini. Then there's a case of 39-year-old Andre Lorquette, also of Miami, who's serving time for taking $4.4 million in a fraudulent PPP scheme. He was a one-man stimulus program, spending the money on a Lamborghini, a Porsche, 2 Teslas, a diamond watch, custom jewelry, gold chains, and 70 carats of diamonds.
All right, Jeff, we're heading to the Hard Rock Guitar Hotel.
Another big spender was former NFL wide receiver Joshua Bellamy, who received $1.2 million in a fraudulent PPP scheme. According to his indictment, he bought jewelry and spent $60,000 on a stay at Fort Lauderdale's Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
If you were a PPP fraudster, would you have spent $60,000 at a casino?
Well, the lower under the radar you are, the less likely you're going to be caught.
The first wave of convictions spanned all walks of life. Public school teachers in Chicago, social media influencers, and even sheriff's deputies in Broward County, Florida.
We're over 17 law enforcement agents, all working for the sheriff's department, took over $500,000 in PPP loans.
Said that they committed blatant fraud, according to the indictments.
According to the feds, PPP loans paid for vacations to Florida, expensive meals, and vacation homes. One guy in Georgia spent $57,000 on a mint condition Pokemon card. And one woman in Miami used her PPP cash to hire a hitman who actually filmed himself counting the money.
Do you feel like that the FBI used social media to basically catch a lot of these people that are defrauding the government?
Yeah, I wouldn't leave a big electronic footprint. That's just, those are gifts to prosecutors.
Even more flamboyant than the social media post was the emerging genre of PPP-related rap music. The songs and music videos have racked up millions of views. One rapper named Nuke Bizzle dropped an entire track about getting rich off COVID-era unemployment benefit.
I done got rich off of EDD. I ain't hit no more liquor than EDD. And just last night I was selling P. And I just woke up to 300 G.
Admitting to fraud in a music video put my boy Nuke Bizzle behind bars. But he did give me an idea.
Man, Pimp on the Blimp.
What up, Forgiato? Let's go.
Welcome to the PPP Palace, Pimp.
Let's go, dog. Dude, you know I need some freaking loans right now. I need that bank loan.
Where the money at? Where the money at? How you like my spot?
Dude, this is what's up.
Yeah.
We're about to make a hit in here.
Make us a hit, baby. Let's go.
So what do you think about all these rappers taking all these handouts like this?
Man, I know I earned mine the hard way, but look, at one time I thought these people out here were getting this free money. It wasn't the best, but now we give it to Ukraine, I can give it less. Yeah. What people in America did with the money.
Yeah, you're right. I'd rather Americans
have 60 billion to Ukraine. I know we done got the 60 billion on thinking PPPs.
No, man, Forgiato, I'm ready to get in the studio. We're about to make a hit. We're gonna drop the hardest PPP loan rap y'all have ever freaking heard. So, you know, get your mind right because we're about to drop some bars that y'all ain't never heard about.
PPP loan bars, baby.
And we're not talking Xanax bars, we're talking some hard
bars. We're talking PPP bars, baby.
PPP, Paycheck Protection Program bars, son, with a Z.
PPP loan. Forgiato blow and prime time 99. Shout out to Uncle Sam for that Paycheck Protection Program. Go to the bank and lie on the form. It's 2021, bitch, this is the norm. Now you know the truth about that loan. Talking to your family through the prison phone.
Hey, it's the mayor. You know 4G had that bag way before that PPP. But I ain't hating on my homies pushing PPP. I gave the IRS 100 ball and they shipped it to Ukraine. 100 bands on my chain, the hood screaming Trump's name. If you touched your first rack off that stimmy, I ain't hating. Your pockets wasn't hurting till Joe came up out that basement. It's the third version of Biden, somebody is lying. I swear. Obama's in the closet with Big Mike still hiding. That's the agenda they pushing, you know they on that shit. Democrats don't love you, they want you on that slave shit. On board the Trump train, hunters on that cocaine. That auto trader money, I don't need no loan, man. I'm paid.
After 2 days in Florida, it was time to get our project back on budget. So I gave up my aspirations to become a rapper, returned the Lambo, and moved on to our next destination, the place where PPP was concocted.
All right, we're currently on Capitol Hill, about to ask about the $2 trillion CARES Act that let all of this PPP money get just doled out like it was a freaking piggy bank.
It was just 5 members of Congress that opposed the law that created PPP, and I wanted to go speak to one.
Hey, I was wondering, is Congressman Ocasio-Cortez in there? I wanted to apologize to her.
Unfortunately, AOC did not accept my apology, which narrowed our candidates for an interview down to just 4 other members. Luckily, one came through.
What do you get me into here today?
Well, you're toast. You know, you're my favorite big booty congressman, so let's get into it.
All right.
Take us back to March 2020 when you were one of the only congressmen that had the cojones to stand up against all of this government bloat and this big boondoggle that gave a bunch of people free money.
Well, you know, supposedly we're under attack from a virus that was going to kill all of America, and we're sitting at home back in our districts wondering when we're going to get called back up to come to Congress and save the world, right?
Yep.
And we actually get a call that says, just stay home, it's too dangerous. Meanwhile, you got people bagging your groceries for you, you got nurses going to work, but it was too dangerous for Congress to come and do anything about this. So they would just write the bill for us. It was going to spend $2 trillion, and we could just stay at home, stay safe, and they would pass it with nobody here in Washington, D.C. by what's called unanimous consent, which means if there's nobody to object, then it just passes. And so I said, the hell with that.
I came here this week to make sure our republic doesn't die in an empty chamber by unanimous consent.
I parked outside the Capitol and I said, I'm going to object. And they said, are you for real? And I said, yeah.
The truth, if you're willing to report it, is they don't want a recorded vote. They don't want to be on record of making the biggest mistake in history.
So they had to fly everybody back to Washington, D.C. And remember, the country was shut down, locked down. This was the 11th of the 15 days to slow the spread. The CNN called me the most hated person in Washington, D.C., and I say that's the first time they ever got the news right.
His colleagues lashed out. Liz Cheney donated to his political opponent. Republican Congressman Peter King tweeted, "Blood is on Thomas Massie's hands." Not to be outdone by John Kerry, who tweeted that Massie had tested positive for being an asshole.
Is it true you tested positive for being an asshole?
Donald Trump himself retweeted Kerry, writing, "You never knew John Kerry had such a good sense of humor. Very impressed."
Donald Trump called me a third-rate grandstander on Twitter.
What's your response to Donald Trump calling you a third-rate grandstander?
I'm at least second-rate. That was after a phone call we had that a lot of people don't know about. I was sitting on the floor on that fateful day, March 27th, 2020, ready to make the motion, and my phone rang, and I looked at it, and it was like all zeros. And I'm like, who has a phone number that's all zeros? And then I was like, oh, that's Trump. So I let it go to voicemail.
Oh, wait,
Yeah.
you let
I was
Trump
busy.
Oh my, you let the President of the United States go to voicemail, wow.
Not once, but 3 times in a row. He kept calling. I'm like, man, this guy's not gonna give up.
Like a crazy ex-girlfriend or something. Wow, that's awesome.
The 4th call was from somebody who encouraged me to call the president back. So I go out in the speaker's lobby to call the president back. And I don't have his phone numbers. If you're a tourist, there's some switchboard you call.
Mm-hmm.
So I just call the switchboard, and they're like, oh, Congressman Massie, hold for Trump. And I'm like, whoa, the whole White House knows. So they put me through, and he comes on the line, and he goes, I'm coming at you like you've never seen, never in your life before. Have you seen the way in which I will come at you? I'm backing your primary opponent, and I'm more popular than you in Kentucky, and you know it. You're gonna lose. And I'm standing there with my cell phone, like this is the worst day of my life. He just screamed at me for 2 or 3 minutes. And then as he caught his breath, I got a little word in edgewise, and he said, no, this is the 2nd time you've done this. And they talked me out of it before, but not this time. And I thought, I've done this like 8 times. So I walk back to my seat, and I'm wondering, what does that mean? You're gonna come at me like I've never seen before. Never in your life have you seen the way in which I will. So I'm wondering, what does that mean? And before I could get to my seat, he had tweeted 3 times.
That's how he's gonna burn you over Twitter.
The first tweet said that I was a third-rate grandstander. The second tweet said I should be thrown out of the party. And the third tweet was, I think he just ran out of stuff to say, and he said, you know, what would hurt him the most? And they said, well, President, he's the chairman of the Second Amendment caucus. So the third tweet said, I'm terrible on guns, right? I'm the chairman of the Second Amendment caucus.
In the end, the CARES Act passed with overwhelming support. But thanks to Congressman Massie, Congress at least debated it and held an actual vote.
But now Trump rates you now a first-rate guy, so you moved up.
We've patched things up. We really have. Because a few weeks later, I got 81% of the vote in my primary. Like I just barely, squeaked it out.
After the CARES Act passed, the Trump administration attempted to keep PPP loan information private. But thanks to lawsuits from media organizations, the details on every single PPP loan recipient are now publicly available.
All right, guys, we are currently in New Jersey, the Garden State, home to Snooki, Mike the Situation, John Bon Jovi, Bruce Springsteen, and of course, the Mafia. But speaking of the Mafia, what we're about to do right now is we're about to go to the Jersey Shore and expose all of these PPP fraud loans of people saying that they had a farm on the beach. That don't make no sense.
In 2021, ProPublica published a report about hundreds of fake farms that received PPP loans, including a handful that were on the Jersey Shore. My producer gave me an impossible task. Go find them.
Hey. Well, I have a question. This is a random question. Are there any cattle farms around here? Yeah, like, you never heard of a horse? I mean, no, sorry. We're looking for one called Beefy King.
We looked it up, and Beefy King is supposedly a cattle ranch located on a Jersey Shore sandbar that received more than $20,000 in PPP money.
Here, let's see if we can pop in the police station. That there was a cattle farm in Ship Bottom. They got like $20,000 in loans. Have you heard of any cattle farms ever being in this area?
Not at all.
No cattle farms, nobody. I swear, we're doing it on PPP fraud, and they said there was a cattle business, and it's about a mile down the road, but you've never heard of any cattle business around here?
No. Not in Ship Bottom, no.
Okay, I asked them if they had seen any cattle businesses. They like had no idea what the hell I was talking about. I hate doing the work of law enforcement, but I am a graduate of the Dallas Citizens Police Academy, so it's kind of in my DNA. Oh, Wawa Market. Wawa Market, they might have something. I've never even heard of Wawa Market. So I'm out here, I'm looking around for, are there any cattle farms in this area?
I know.
You've never heard of a cattle farm here?
With no sign of the Beefy King Cattle Ranch, we started looking for our next Jersey Shore farm.
We're on our way to find Dealey's Nuts, which is a tree farm that got nearly $20,000 in PPP loans. So let's see if Dealey's Nuts actually exists. I know about D's Nuts, but I don't know about Dealey's. All right, guys, this is where Dealey's Nuts, a tree farm, is supposed to be, but as you can tell, it doesn't look like there's a lot of trees around this neighborhood that are... Let's go out there to the beach. All right, guys, we're here trying to find Dealey's Nuts. We couldn't find it, so we're gonna take matters into my own hands. I'm gonna plant these nuts right here, and the beautiful sun is gonna grow a fantastic almond tree. And if y'all want to do me a favor, make sure if you're in the New Jersey area, especially Ship Bottom, follow me on Instagram, Primetime Stein, and let me know if a tree grows right here. So I'm trying to get rich. I want that PPP money for next time. Primetime's Tree Farm, right here in beautiful New Jersey, baby.
After the failed mission in New Jersey, there was just one last question. If it's too late to get PPP, can we make money by snitching? And for that, we went to meet with Jason Brown, a former FBI agent and current whistleblower attorney who handles PPP cases.
How can you teach me how to snitch on all these PPP people? I want to try to go around snitch. And if I snitch on somebody, is it true that I would get a cut of that settlement?
Well, we don't like to use the word snitch because these are courageous individuals.
They are courageous individuals. Yes, okay, excuse me. Thank you for saving my taxpayer dollar. But you know what I mean? I'm just saying, on the street, they say snitches get stitches. I don't want to be a snitch, but, you know, I will sing like a bird if I can bust somebody. You know, is that a lucrative thing? You know, could I make money by going around and trying to find people that took out fraudulent PPP loans?
Is it a path? Yes. Is it lucrative? Probably not.
A federal law called the False Claims Act gives whistleblowers the power to sue fraudsters. If their lawsuit is successful, they get a cut of that recovered PPP money, baby.
Let's say there's $100 million worth of fraud. It rarely sells for less than double damages, so let's say it goes for $200 million, and the whistleblower in turn receives on average 20% of that. So that's $40 million for doing the right thing.
Does a government like you in this instance, because you are that third-party thing that they need you in a way?
Yeah, the federal government's so overworked and overstretched, it relies on insiders who have inside information to blow the whistle.
In 2023 alone, the government recovered over $2.5 billion in stolen tax dollars under the False Claims Act, spanning various forms of fraud, including PPP.
So you handle large PPP fraud cases, but is there a certain demographic that you're noticing more that are committing this PPP fraud, or is it just all over?
It was given out like candy so quickly that it's all over the map.
You basically focus on huge PPP fraud cases, so can you kind of give us an example of what a huge PPP fraud case is?
Sure. I mean, PPP can happen in a couple ways, one of which is inflation, where a company exaggerates its headcount or revenue to get more money. The bigger cases are the underinflation. These were meant for small businesses, for caps of 500 employees, for caps of 10 million. And what certain companies did was underinflated census to falsely claim it was eligible, or hid interrelated companies that had a common nucleus of ownership so they can bust through the 10 million and in aggregate to get $20, $30 million from the taxpayers.
And you handle cases all over the country.
All over the world, but yes, all over the country.
Well, I mean all over the world, but I mean, they're all American cases though, right?
Well, not necessarily. The PPP generally tend to be American cases, but remember, outright it'd be illegal for somebody to put in for a PPP loan if they were a foreign company, and there are foreign companies that put in for PPP loans.
So you're telling me there'd be like Mexican-based companies, Canadian-based companies, Venezuelan-based companies that were, I mean, I say smart enough, but I guess crafty enough to go get PPP loans? Was that rampant?
People from all over Russia, big.
That was a big place. So that was a big international destination for these.
A lot of funds went to Russia, supposedly early on in the schemes that were going on. So sometimes they would have a drop person, straw company here in the United States that with just the most simple type of cross-checking, they would have found out was just false, but instead they walked away with money that we'll never claw back. We are never going to be able to recover.
I get an American citizen doing it, but I'd rather it go to an American citizen. I mean, maybe that makes me a nationalist or something, but I'd rather it go to an American.
I'd rather we have an American scammer.
Yeah, I'd rather an American scammer than a Nigerian scammer. No offense to Nigeria.
It's more collectible and.
Yeah, I mean, at least it goes to the it goes to the economy here. They spend it on a car dealership here. They spend it on a house here or whatever. I mean, so it seems a little better, even though it's still fraud at the end of the day. It still feels better than a Russian guy buying a Lamborghini in Russia. How long do you foresee you keep on handling these cases for the foreseeable future for a while?
Unfortunately, due to the industriousness of the criminals and the bad actors, there's just no end to the fraud in sight.
It was too good to be true. And you know who knew that? Thomas Massie. It turns out free money isn't actually free. You got inflation, you got debt, you got taxes, and for some of you, you went to jail. Good luck with that. You won't be popping bottles in prison. Just ask my boy Nuke Bizzle. And here's the deal. Guys, when Congress cuts a check to a foreign government or defense contractor, they get to keep that money, get to sign it, seal it, and deliver it. It's all theirs, baby. But when you do it, you better dot your I's and cross your T's, because if you don't, you're going to jail, dog. Locked up, hard time. You're gonna be in a prison cell singing the blues. But maybe the bigger problem here is the government. They rushed the program, they designed it to be exploited, they basically created a massive slush fund and doled it out via the honor system. But yes, it was popular. Because why? People love a handout. So now the question is, next time there's a pandemic or a recession or a crisis, what's gonna stop them from doing it all over again? And that's all from the Pimp on a Blimp. Now check out my rap with 4G Auto Blow, PPP loans.
PPP loans. 4G Auto Blow and prime time 99. Shout out to Uncle Sam for that Paycheck Protection Program. Go to the bank and lie on the form. It's 2021, bitch, this is the norm. Don't you want to buy the Maserati, then get drunk off government Bacardi? We all getting loans, this is dog. Shout out to Wuhan for starting this party. Dr. Fauci made us shut down and made sure to vaccinate your entire town. PPP loans are a beacon of light, keeping hope alive in the darkest of the night. Uncle Sam has got that dough. Trump let all that money flow. Lie on the papers and get that cash. A Lamborghini will make you spend it fast. They shut down the club for the flu. Robbing the government is what we had to do. Wear the mask to stop the virus. Lie on your forms, no they can't stop this. Behind prison walls is where we stay. A price paid dearly for the games we play. In the land of green where the dreams are set, we're all responsible for the Fed Reserve's debt. Google and Apple took that handout. I did it too for some Instagram Now you know the truth about that loan. Talking to your family through the prison phone.
Hey, it's the Megaville. You know 4G had that bag way before that PPP. But I ain't hating on my homies pushing PPP. I gave the IRS 100 ball and they shipped it to Ukraine. 100 bands on my chain, the hood screaming Trump's name. If you touched your first rack off that stimmy, I ain't hating. Your pockets wasn't hurting till Joe came up out that basement. It's the third version of Biden, somebody is lying. I swear. Obama's in the closet with Big Mike still hiding. That's the agenda they pushing, you know they on that shit. Democrats don't love you, they want you on that slave shit. On aboard the Trump train, hunters on that cocaine. Got that auto trader money, I don't need no loan, man.